So what we see with the polyvagal theory is that it references knowing that when we face danger, our body and our brain reacts automatically. And what you guys see here is a ladder. The ladder references the ventrovagal state, which is really where you want to be, right? Like this is the ideal state where everything is functioning well, everything is working smoothly, versus, the sympathetic state where it's like, oh, it's kind of in between, like things are okay, but I'm kind of on edge, versus the red state where it's like, oh my gosh, panic mode, what's happening? So what we see is that when we do things like speeding up our heart rate, tightening our muscles, sharpening our senses, these are all automatic body responses, but they're automatic body responses to what we may perceive as potential danger. The challenge for a lot of us is that when we see this, it's like our bodies didn't get the message and we stay in survival mode. So that is the hard part for some of us sometimes, right? Is this idea that when we get into survival mode, our body is no longer thinking about, hey, let's slow down, let's take a deep breath, let's recognize that this situation is not actually bad. Our brain doesn't care. Our brain is like, ooh, danger, there's a threat, move. So what we have to reference is that sometimes being in this survival mode and then being in it for years, it further enhances, it further strengthens the experience we have with the trauma. So the polyvagal theory helps us understand how our nervous system, right, the very thing that fires up, that keeps us going, is it shifts between that space of feeling safe, feeling under threat, and shutting down. So I like to think of it as like being able to engage, being like this ladder, like I said, and it's this being able to engage that when we're at the top, we're connected. We're able to engage with others. When we feel unsafe, we start to slide down into that fight flight space, right? And then if things become too overwhelming, then we get into the red space where we shut down. So let me throw this example out to you guys. Have you guys ever been in a state where you just felt so overwhelmed that you literally didn't know what to do? Like you were just like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here. At this point, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I'm just here because it was so much happening at the same time that your brain and your body was like, I don't come out. I don't want to deal. Let me just process. Let me give myself a second. That's how much stress it was. That's how much bad there was, right? The overwhelm. That's our body dropping into that dorsal vagal state. So we want to be able to recognize that in African communities, in the diaspora, these body-based reactions can also be understood, misunderstood, and sometimes they're dismissed. When you are in Nigeria and you're trying to work, make a salary, pay bills, take care of a family, raise a family, you have the culture and tradition of our ancestors. You also have all this Western and even Asian, with all the things from China that are coming into Nigeria, all these influences that are coming into your space, impacting your children, the community you live in. Is the community safe or not? What are your kids being exposed to? All of these things we might label someone that is experiencing these things as lazy. We might say, oh, they're weak. We might say it's a spiritual attack, rather than recognizing that the person that is experiencing this might actually be in a state of distress, right? So we want to shift that narrative, and we want to understand that the key to healing is being able to shift the conversation from, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? What's going on? To what happened to you? And how can we actually help your body get out of survival mode and actually begin to thrive so you can survive?